What's going on, everyone? This is Chris around the ATL on a Sunday. I was getting started at 4 o'clock, but we were going through some technical difficulties because I had my co-host, Jordan Jackson. I'm going to go ahead and hit the applause because he was on. We were going to have him on the show to do this Falcons segment. Man, that applause really don't sound right. Anyway, he ended up having to go to another appointment. So what we'll end up doing is we'll do a follow-up to this because I'm sure probably within the next 24 to 48 to 72 hours, there might be some more moves speculatively. So today, we are going to be talking Atlanta Falcons specifically. And tomorrow morning, I plan on doing some Hawks. So be staying in tune on that. Make sure you subscribe to the IMTN Worldwide Radio YouTube channel as you see it scrolling across. That's easy to do. Just click, just hit subscribe. That's all you got to do. And of course, hit the notification button so that way you see a show schedule impromptu like today, you'll know the show is going on. So today we're talking, again, the Atlanta Falcons. And we're talking about free agency specifically. Now we know, and if you actually go and read the actual show information on this particular episode, we're talking about the offseason of the Atlanta Falcons. And if you read some of my details of how I feel the offseason is going, you know there's always, goods and bads, ebb, tides and flows, and all that kind of good stuff. But the very beginning of it definitely has not been good. But here's why it's all important, of course. From the season before, and this is just briefly, I'm doing this part. The year before, we thought we were going to the playoffs, right? We thought we were going to the playoffs. You sign a quarterback that has skills and abilities, and he has the numbers, right? And yes, his teams that he's been on haven't had the greatest success stories of all time or anything, but he's shown that he can throw the ball, obviously. Just not last year. And we gave him a lot of money to be able to throw the ball, but we also knew he was coming off a particular injury. Okay, we had knowledge of this. And despite that, we made him the guy for the money. And then right after that, we went and used a first-round pick on another quarterback. Okay, now, lo and behold, that's not what most teams would have done, but ours did. And I'm hearing things in the background. What is that? Ours did do that. We made a conscientious decision to not improve the team per having that quarterback. We went and got another quarterback. In hindsight 2020 now, you really kind of look at that per what's going on right now, this particular offseason, but I'll get to that in a second. The quarterback that we ended up getting in the draft also had some particular injury history. Right? However, of course, don't worry about it. He'll be healthy. Everything is good to go. You have this other quarterback who will be the guy, and the other guy will sit a couple years, I guess. And when it's time for him to play, he'll be ready to play. Well, that didn't happen because nearly the middle of the season, we had to make a decision. We can't play with this guy anymore. We're going to start playing the drafted quarterback, which was, of course, Michael Penix Jr. And then he goes down, and you have to put back the other quarterback, which was Kirk Cousins. Okay. Now, all that happening on the offensive side of the ball, which basically was giving us intermittent play at best, not a lot of scoring. Okay. And some of that, of course, we know coaching had a lot to do with that too. Our defense was a positive. Why? Because finally, after decades, we could finally get to the quarterback again. The Atlanta Falcons had 57 sacks last year. That's almost as many sacks as we had combined the last few years, it seems like, right? 57 sacks. Now, of course, one of the ones who led us in sacks, one of those draft picks, okay, that we used, first round, right? Well, a lot of people said, oh, you can't do that. You shouldn't do that and everything. But we did, and we will reward it with 57 sacks. This particular offseason, though, guess what? Probably will never play in the Atlanta Falcon uniform again. We're talking about, let's see, do I still have it pulled up from a year ago? I think I do. This guy. Probably will never play in a Falcons uniform again. 10 plus sacks going into his second season, right? So you lose that right off the bat in this particular offseason. We've lost a lot of players in this offseason. Now, some people are saying, well, you're getting rid of players that, we didn't finish 500, as if it was those particular players' fault. When those players, a lot of them were participatory in the 57 sacks and the better playing of defense than we've had in a long time. Our defense kept us in a lot of games last year. It was just the offense that couldn't get enough points on the board. We couldn't get the ball down the field. We couldn't control the ball long enough, and all these other things that led to our, again, being under 500 as a team, right? We're going to talk about that because that's going to lead into what we've done so far in this offseason and what else needs to be done possibly, right? So that's just the short lead in regards to talking Atlanta Falcons today. And again, make sure you subscribe to the IMTM Worldwide Radio page that is scrolling right down here on the bottom here. So let's start off with who we lost. The departing Atlanta Falcons. And again, there's a few of them. So let's start off with AK, formerly 47, Arnold Mckay. He went to Philadelphia 76ers, right? Our former offensive lineman, Javon Gwynn. Also Elijah Wilkinson, who had the nerve to go on the internet and say all kind of crazy stuff when it's like, you're not that good and you're the reason that our other quarterback ended up going down. And you have nerve to say all these things, which some of them could be true, but you don't do that though, especially when you're not one of the best players. You don't have the oomph, I'll just say, to say things. Okay. We lost Caden Ellis. Now, again, the fact that Caden was one of the captains on the team is going to hurt. The fact that he was a productive player on our team, that's going to hurt. Him going to New Orleans ain't going to hurt that much. And really, again, for me, it's like when you have someone go from a team, no, we weren't a winning team, but we were, I feel that, of course, we were a better team than New Orleans. And maybe he believes that New Orleans has a better come up than the Falcons, and it's his right. But perennially, what have the New Orleans Saints done, that's so stupendous to say, I'm going to go over here and be a winner over there? I would have respected him going to one of the contending teams a whole heck of a lot more if he's going to leave the Falcons, right? For the money that he ended up signing for or whatnot, right? But he was definitely a productive player on our team. His contributions will be missed unless we're able to replace it. We lost Kentavious Street. He was, decently solid, depth right there a little bit more than anything. Tyler Algier. Now, again, a lot of people are, I guess some were torn. I definitely would have liked to have been able to try to figure out how to keep him, because I just saw on the internet just not too long ago somebody doing like a running back duo combination of the 2010s or 2000s, somewhere in there. And he started naming, the running back duos. I think the first one he mentioned was Ricky Williams and just that Robbie something, I can't remember, on the Dolphins at the time. And it can work if you get the two right running backs and the coaching, and things of that nature. I think we could have still made it work one more season, and I think we would have been more of a dangerous team having that. But again, we couldn't even get Robinson to run in between the tackles in goal line situations because of our coaching. We did everything other than run him. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know. But he's gone as well. He went to the Cardinals again. Not sure why he would go to the Cardinals. Not really sure. Let's see. Yeah, talking about Wilkinson, Maggie says, yeah, it's not professional. It's not. Like, there's way to do things. There's eloquent ways to do things and say things and say how you feel. And again, I'm not saying he don't necessarily have a right to, spit his guts out and stuff like that. But he was part of the the issue. You see what I'm saying? Like, it'd been different if he had been like a Hall of Fame, something, multi-time Pro Bowl player or something like that. Like, it would have made it a little bit more palatable. But for it to be him saying all that, it just didn't sit well with me. We also lost David Onyemata. He's gone. He was a solid player for the Falcons on the interior side. He also had 8 sacks last year, 21 for a loss. He's gone. D. Alford. Now, last year probably was one of his better seasons, right? Career highs in interceptions, 3 passes defended was 13. He had 2 sacks. Like, he was part of the betterment of the defense, okay, for last year. And again, a lot of that, I believe, was our defensive coaching and making sure that people were in the best position to succeed and getting them to want to be successful as well, improved by a long shot. But he's gone now as well. He's going to the Bills. Like I said, it's looking like a bitter baby mama. That's if anybody saw the statements, that's how it looked. So those are some of the players that we lost as far as on the free agency side. Pretty much that's going to be it, I believe, right? So that's who we lost. So now let's talk about some of the pickups. Now, again, because of how I started the episode, we talked about the quarterback situation, right? Right now, we know Kirk is gone. Right now, we know Michael is still healing, right? And it was going to be a matter of we have to find somebody to play however many games that we perceive that Penix is going to be out for the beginning of the season, which right now we still don't know. Is it going to be 4 games? Is it going to be 6 games? Is it going to be half the season? We don't know yet, right? So there's a lot of different options that were going to be out there. The one that we decided on is going to be controversial. It was going to be controversial up to a point, depending on who you got anyway, no matter what. A lot of people did not want Kyler Murray right off the jump just because of that pass and the perception of he's just not serious about football, which he proved himself many times, right? But when he's serious about football, he's pretty decent. And so if you're talking about having someone to start the season right off the jump, he could have been an option. But he wasn't an option until recently, right? And then you had all these other players. You had a lot of older players. There was Flacco out there and others. But the Atlanta Falcons said, nope, we're not going to wait no longer. We're going to make this decision, and we're going to go and get Tua. Now, of course, at that point, you have a lot of people on the internet who basically said, how are you going to have 2 hurt QBs in the quarterback room at the same time now? Or 2 regularly hurt quarterbacks in the quarterback room at the same time. And a lot of people would be valid in feeling like that, right? Now, myself, I look at it just on the basis of the type of injury that Tua has been consistently getting over the last few years, concussions. And however many games he's going to have to start. And by the way, it's supposed to be a quarterback contest with Tua and Penix. Now, again, my whole thing was, well, wait, if you're going to move from Kirk and you're going to say that Penix is the guy, but now you're going to change it and say, well, now they're going to have to compete for the spot, then why did we get Penix? It's just so confusing just as far as just how that's translated over the last couple of months. It is really mind-boggling to me. Because is he the guy or not? But now he's in a battle for his career, basically, right? Because not hurt, Tua can throw the ball too, right? He can run an offense, right? Whether or not you want to talk about coaching and the pieces around him and things of that nature, when he's right, Tua is actually pretty decent, right? To start off the season, Tua can probably help us win some games as opposed to what we had last year. That I could probably agree with. If he has to play 4 games, we can go 2-2. Might be able to go 3-1. You never know. If he has to play 6 games, can he go? We have to at least go 5. Whatever games that Penix misses, we have to at least go 500. I think everybody should agree with that. But it would be better if we can go over 500. And we do have London and we do have Robinson. You do have Pitts to where if he plays like last year, that's a pretty solid group right there off the bat, right? So we're going to see what Tua can do. I'm just worried about him getting hit that wrong way. Remember, he led the league in passing with 4,600 passing yards in 2023. He is 44-32. That's what I'm saying. It's not like he's not terrible. It's just him being hurt, and how he kind of ended last season was not a good look for him either, though. Right? When he was playing bad, he didn't want to admit he was playing bad. When you don't have accountability, that's a disaster in itself, just waiting, right? But anyway, we got Tua. We also got an offensive lineman, kind of had to do that. Corey Levin. He's played 88 games with 7 starts in 6 seasons. So there's probably more depth than anything, played center and both guard spots. So there you go, depth-wise right there. We also signed a defensive lineman in Chris Williams. He's played 44 games in 4 seasons. He has 4 sacks in the last 2 seasons. So we got a little depth right there. Channing Tindall, linebacker. I remember someone saying we got some fast linebackers now. This man ran a 4.47 40-yard dash in his NFL combine. He was a special team player for the Dolphins and the Cardinals. We also got us a wide receiver. Now, is this really going to be our number 2 wide receiver? And again, make sure you subscribe to the IMTN Worldwide Radio page. Just click it. Help me out. Share it with some people too. Is this going to be our real number 2 receiver? Now, he played for the Eagles, right? I saw some of the highlights. Their highlights, yes, he ran a 4.43 in his combine. Does that mean we're going to finally have somebody that can maybe, take it over the top a little bit more? Because again, when Penix is available, we know he can get the ball down the field. But how many times did we even do that a year ago? London is not that person necessarily, but he's one of the best route runners in the league, and he catches the ball more so than not. Okay. Penix, he can just get open, but he's not, running down the field like a gazelle either necessarily. We really didn't have anybody who could just boom, there you go, I'm open, a la Moss, right? I used to do that. I'm just saying now. I used to do that back in the day. I see who's on me. My hand's already in the air. I'm open, throw it. Because I'm tall too, right? So I don't even really need to do a move. I'm just open. You just need to throw it up and get it to me, right? When was the last time we had anybody like that? Oh, Julio Jones, right? Man, we need to get Julio here for one season, right? He has enough in the tank. But can Dotson really help us? Now, he had 121 catches total the last 4 seasons, okay? 1,500 yards, 12 touchdowns. So does that really translate out to make him the number 2, or is he just depth, right? Because again, at the end of the day, we didn't have a lot of depth at wide receiver either last year, right? When it came down to it, we really didn't have it. So we have him. We also signed a punter, Jake Bailey. We also, Austin Hooper is back in the fold. I was kind of surprised at this to an extent. However, when you're talking about a veteran who can catch the ball, any situation, I ain't mad at it, And Hooper is pretty big. He can, take the blocks and things of that nature as well. So as a blocker, that helps the run game as well. He is a two-time Pro Bowl selection, 18 and 19. Over the last couple of seasons, he has 7 touchdowns, 84 passes, 780 yards with the Browns. I believe he could help us, okay, as far as just plain old. Austin Hooper, Pitts, Bijan Robinson, Drake London, Tua. If we can protect him, we should be able to win games like that, okay? That should work. We also signed, and this was surprising. Now, when this happened, I was like, I did a double take, okay? And I'm never really on my phone at work, so I got a friend who's always on his phone at work, and he keeps popping up and letting me know who we've been signing, right? And then he said, Nick Folk. And I had to think about it. Nick Folk, why does that sound familiar? Oh, wait, you mean the kicker, Nick Folk? We got him? And yes, so 18 years in the league, the 16th most points in the league he has scored. Led the league in field goal percentage each of the last 3 seasons. Now, with him being older, can he keep that up for at least one more season for the Atlanta Falcons? Because again, remember, the last 2 seasons, literally, think about how many games we lost because we couldn't kick field goals. Think about last year alone, because we decided to keep someone who couldn't kick anymore, and it was obvious he couldn't kick no more, and we kept him kicking the ball. And we lost games because of it. That of last year, I think that was one of the most frustrating parts of the season, because we had a head coach who could not make no decisions. And again, that's also the fault of the general manager. And then when we decided to say, okay, we got to get another kicker, we kept that kicker in the kicking room as if he still had a shot. And I'm like, why not just move him? That bothered me. I'm just saying. And so I'm so glad that we did make a decision to go ahead and clear house, because again, with that winning streak that we had at the end of the year, it was possible. We're going to keep Raheem and everybody one more year. It was possible. That was very scary times, y'all. Y'all just don't even know. But we got Nick Folk. So right there, him being a leader in field goal percentage each of the last 3 seasons, if he can do that for a 4th season for us, again, at worst case scenario, we flip our win total from 8-9 to 9-8. He should be responsible for at least one game, right? One win, right? Because last year, literally, we had enough on our team to win 10 games, and we only won 8 again. Like, how embarrassing is that? So far today, oh wait, I'm missing a couple people. I thought it was finished. We also signed another linebacker, Christian Harris, who also, I was trying to think about him. Right now, he has 4 sacks. He has 13 passes defended, which usually means, guess what? He could play on a receiver every now and again if need be, because that means he has quick feet. 13 passes defended. He also ran back a interception for a touchdown. He did that in the playoffs. So you have him on the team. You also have another defensive tackle in Mckay London. He had 5 sacks last year, which was 4th most on the team. And that was from last year. So we did retain 1 person from that defense from last year. We also signed Cameron Thomas, another defensive end. Again, a lot of this is precipitated on what James Pierce did, right? So we have to try to figure that out. Again, we've lost some people on that side with Pierce leaving. We've lost a lot of sacks. All right, so we got to try to get that back a little bit. So we also got Cameron Thomas. He played in Cleveland as well. A lot of people are saying the Atlanta Browns. It is what it is. But 58 games in his career, 79 tackles, 6.5 sacks, 15 quarterback hits. So he can get to the quarterback, it sounds like, a little bit there. So far, those are our signings. Now, very interestingly, and this is something else I don't, Maggie says he's better. Nick Folk, definitely. Oh, sure. I do not agree with this one. Troy Anderson's contract being restructured. He needs to go. Okay? Just be gone. Like, he's never, as far as I'm concerned, I don't think he could. It's not that he can't play football. He can't be available. The best ability is availability. When was the last time he's been on a football field and actually made a tackle? Troy Anderson, we're talking about. So I don't agree with that. Now, if a miracle he actually is able to play, okay, let's see. At the end of the day, though, he shouldn't get any starter snaps, obviously. He's going to have to come off the bench and improve himself, basically. We also extended Natrone Brooks, the cornerback. I think we also have one more. I think that's it. So that's up to date. Oh, no. So we also, I almost forgot about this. Azeez Ojulari used to play for Georgia. A lot of people have wanted him for a while. Over the last 5 years, 22 sacks, 38 quarterback hits. We got him. I don't know if it went through or not, but we also were supposed to sign Chris Williams to a one-year deal. He was on the practice squad with Cleveland. He has 4 sacks, 37 tackles, 9 QB hits over the last 2 seasons with Chicago. So I believe we also have them as well. I already talked about him. Hunter, yeah. Oh, and Zacchaeus. We got Zacchaeus back. Almost forgot about Zacchaeus. Now, this is another player that we are very familiar with because of Matt Ryan's career, obviously. So we know what he brings to the table. And, of course, if he has a lot in the tank, he would be a player that can get downfield. So now we're looking at, is the blocking where it needs to be? If the blocking is needed, is where it needs to be, someone like Zacchaeus, along with Tua, right? That could be something that opens the door for Zacchaeus to get downfield. Can we get some 40-yard passes in there somewhere, just every now and the blue moon, just to pretend like we have some threats? But again, now with this being the bunch of players that we've gotten so far this offseason in free agency, how do you feel about the draft now? Okay. Did we do enough plugging in some holes and some gaps to where with the few draft picks that we got, thank you, former regime, can we do enough to ensure that the Falcons win 10 games this season? Because, like, I don't know how everybody else feels with this, and I'll be cutting this episode short in a little bit. How do you, actually, I do have one more part of this, so I might not end it just yet. But how do you feel in regards to the draft to say, what do you concentrate on? Do you feel that we did enough with the defensive line to, can we get 57 sacks again at minimum with what we have now, right? Do we concentrate and still get a defensive edge or alignment in the draft? Or do you go cornerback, right? We still don't have a number 2 cornerback next to AJ. All these years have passed. All these other teams have 2 mainstay inline cornerbacks who can protect you, right, as your defensive line tries to get to the quarterback, right? How much better would our defensive line be if we had 2 people that could shut down receivers rather than mainly just 1, right? Do you go for a wide receiver? Now, this is supposed to be a pretty good wide receiver class, so can you get one in a particular round? And you know one thing I did forget to do, and I'll go ahead and do it now, just to throw it out there. Let's see. Do this in real time real quick. And the reason I am going to do this a little bit shorter, because I kind of anticipated myself and my co-host being together to where he can, fill in some blanks there and everything. 2026, there we go. I hope they don't make this difficult. There we go. So we have a 2nd round pick, a 3rd round pick, a 4th round pick. What's my computer doing? Okay, there it is. Oh, my system stopped on me. I'm just now noticing it. So we have a 2nd round, 3rd round, 4th round, 6th round, and 7th round pick. And then the whole screen just disappeared on me. So with those picks, do you believe that we can get quality out of those picks? Because it's just 5. That's a tough one right there, right? Round 2, do you go wide receiver and get the best wide receiver that you can? It's a 48. It's projected as a 48th pick in the 2nd round. Can you get a quality wide receiver? Could you get a quality quarterback? Can you get a quality edge rusher to basically replace James Pierce, possibly? I don't know. Then round 3, that's pick 79. Again, same positions: cornerback, wide receiver, D line, right? Again, even with the offensive line, do you in the 4th round possibly get an offensive lineman, right? Round 6 and 7, do you combine those picks and move up and try to get somebody that you really want? Now, again, I haven't even looked at the draft. I haven't touched the draft. Today was just going to be about free agency and just free agents we lost and free agents that we brought on so far. Just kind of just touching that a little bit. And then we were going to, do some in-depth stuff later on as we saw more things happen or whatnot. Today was our first kind of touch of that. Again, Jordan had to go to an appointment. So we'll probably redo this show and we'll get his perspectives on everything. And plus, at that point, I'll probably be able to do a little bit more in depth as well. But those 5 picks, boy, I tell you. Now, here's the deal. With Ian being here as our new general manager and Matt Ryan as our new leader up at the top, I do have a lot better feeling that we will not miss on people. Because our Falcons history in regards to missing on people, right? It's pretty bad. Our history in the NFL draft over the last 30, 40 years or so has been horrid. Yeah, we've hit on a couple of people, but those couple of people were not enough to circumvent disaster yearly, right? We hit on Matt, right? And then just think about everything we didn't do after that. We couldn't put together a defense to limit people scoring against us as we were putting up 24, 28 points a game most of the time. And we would lose those games. All the games that Matt brought us back in, and then the defense lost the lead again. Again, we should have 2 Super Bowls, y'all. Think about that. We should have 2 Super Bowls with Matt Ryan. But we couldn't do it. So with Matt at the top, Ian as a general manager, no more Rich Mckay, I believe this draft can be successful even with 5 picks. But it's really going to be those first 3 picks or so that's going to kind of tell us what we're really needing to fix. Okay. Again, the free agents, depth primarily, right? But I want to say I miss somebody here. I thought we got a cornerback, but I don't see anybody listed here. Not Natrone Brooks, but I thought we had got somebody else, but it's not showing anybody. I don't know if we have the funds to get a cornerback, but I think we should get somebody. What do y'all think? I don't know. Because again, when you're getting the cornerback out the draft, like it has to be, what's the word I'm looking for? If you're getting the cornerback out the draft, he has to be basically ready to play. It can't be we got to wait for him to develop and all this kind of, you got to throw him into the fire. He has to be good right off the bat. Does this draft have that type of cornerback that we can get with our draft picks? Like, do you go all out and say we really need to solidify that cornerback position once and for all, and roll the dice and say I'll take our 2nd pick and 3rd pick, combine it, and go into the 1st round and get the best cornerback possible, right? I don't know. That sounds kind of risky now that I said that out loud, of course. But I don't know. I don't see why you don't do that finally. Instead of putting some duct tape on it, supposedly, right? And keep seeing us get torched over the top too many times or over the middle. or inside, or, you know, is there so many, or an 8-yard route? Like, we can't get a cornerback that can defend an 8-yard route. Like, that's mush to me. Okay. Of course, like I said, a cornerback can help that defensive line as well. Since we know we're not going to have Pierce this season, right? We have to be able to replace that production. It's 10 sacks. Okay. And it's not just the sacks, it's the quarterback being rushed. We might not get to the quarterback, but it's not letting him sit back there making bacon pancakes all day and throwing the ball downfield on us, right? So we have to replace that. So we can't necessarily replace it with the player. We can kind of replace it if we give them the time, right? Because if you give any defensive line time, they'll get to the quarterback eventually if they got some kind of talent. We have enough talent left, though, to get to the quarterback, right? So that's going to be something to think about. Do we get a little bit bigger on the defensive tackle side? We for a long time, we've had a lot of lightweights up there. Do you go out and you get somebody like that, right? Even though Grady was, I won't call him a heavyweight necessarily, he was a beast all the same, right? But do you go get Grady Jarrett Part 2, but just bigger? Is he out there somewhere floating around in the second or third round of the draft? I don't know. Losing Ellis. Do you go out and get you a top flight linebacker, right? Oh, we got Troy Anderson. No, he can't stay healthy. It'd be great if we could project and say Troy Anderson is going to be healthy the rest of his career. If so, then he has to prove it on the field still again. Because for the few games that he's played, let's see if we can pull that up in real time real quick. Let's see. Because, like, think about it. Troy Anderson, I always use Pro Football. Oh, what's this? Troy Anderson. Oh, I was making sure my microphone was still working. He has played, let's see. Got him in 2022, right? 17 games he played his first season. In his first season, he started 5 games, right? Had 69 tackles, 40 solo, 29 assists, right? 3 quarterback hits, right? In 2023, he went from 17 games to 2 games. 2. Oh, in that first season, he had 29. He had 3 tackles for loss, along with his 3 quarterback hits. And then 2024, he played 7 games. He started 4 of those. Of course, he didn't play last year at all. So he's only played 3 years in the league so far. 3. He's played 26 games so far. So again, Troy Anderson has a lot to prove right now. Because right now, let's see, what else does he have here? He has, let's see. There's a quarterback hit. So he didn't have any sacks. Again, he can tackle. Try to look at some of these other things he had on here. He just doesn't have enough to show what he can do in the league right now. So he's literally having to start all over, which is why his contract was restructured, obviously. But again, like, this is one of those deals where someone believes in him enough to still give him a shot with our team. And I don't know if this is an interview thing where Ian talked to him or whatnot, and he got Ian to believe in him. But remember, he's been here since 2022, okay? Usually, with a new regime, you go ahead and get rid of that player and be like, let somebody else have the roll of the dice, and maybe he'll be good with them, but we can't risk another year of him playing 2 games a season, 5 games in a season, not really being available, not really being effective, right? But maybe this year he's full healthy. He's gone through a regime of getting himself where he's not going to get hurt anymore. If all that is true, let's see what happens. I'm just looking at some of these other numbers. He did have an interception for a touchdown once. That was in 2024. And that's about it. Ran 4.42 in the 40-yard dash. 36-inch vertical. Listen to this. 2023, placed on injured reserve. 2024, injured reserve. 2024, injured reserve. 2025, physically unable to perform. 2026, he's activated from that list. It's a lot. That's a lot going on right there, y'all. He's 26 years old now. Of course, that's his prime. Now he's in his prime. He's basically starting over. I hate to have talked about Troy a little bit longer than I thought I would, but that's just one of those deals where, again, our draft history has been bamboozled for a long time in regards to players that we were basically depending on, and we got nothing out of them. Nothing out of them at all. We go up and down the list, decade after decade after decade, and we can pick all those players out on both sides of the ball, obviously. For the few that we hit on, we have way too many we didn't. And that's the difference between the Atlanta Falcons and all the other teams that have been to the Super Bowl multiple times and won the Super Bowl multiple times, won their division, finished with 10 wins per season, right? It's our players, it's our depth. Besides the bad coaching, of course, and bad general management, of course, and that guy Rich Mckay, who's just determined to keep us under the gun for 2 decades. Players can't always overcome everything, right? So all that being said, it's been an interesting offseason. Again, the other part of this is with Ian, and the depth part of it is the signings of the contracts part. He's looking like he's determined to not put us in a hole again, right? Flexibility. What was one of the things he said? We're never going to have just 5 draft picks ever again, right? That's never going to happen. So that's a positive, because when you say stuff out loud, it means that somebody's going to have to hold you accountable for saying it out loud, right? So it sounds like he's determined to make that happen. His job is to make the Falcons a competitive team again and win. And with Matt Ryan there, this is Matt's chance. It was always probably on the horizon that somehow for Matt to get a Super Bowl, if he's not going to do it as quarterback, he would have to do it as part of the team in some kind of position with the team, right? Here it is. So if it was ever going to happen, again, that part there, I feel good about that. I don't know about everybody else. But Matt's one of the most competitive people out there. Remember, he is a Hall of Fame quarterback. He is top 10 in everything that is important in quarterbacking. If people don't know that, you need to go and look. It's not hard. Touchdowns, yards, wins. Those are kind of important. He's top 10 in those. And of course, come from behind victories as well, right? He's top 10 in those things, guys. So when you have somebody who's competed at that level for as long as he did, he knows a little bit about being able to compete and win games. And so when you talk about the underlining of player and the personnel part of it and pieces and things of that nature, he has it from that perspective because he's played with people. He played with Austin Hooper, right? We won some games with Austin out there on that field, right? So that should be encouraging for everybody. So even though we only have those 5 draft picks and we've signed these people on the free agent side so far, I believe we can at least turn the 8 and the 9 to 9 and 8. That's a start. But yeah, let's go ahead and see, can we win the division? Because we were supposed to win the division last year. Like literally, we still could have won the division with all the foolery of Raheem Morris. We still could have won the division last year and we still didn't, right? So did we do enough just here to not just get that 1 game, but can we get 2 games? Can we get that 10th win, right? With the draft, will that help us maybe get another win in there, right? Get 11 wins. I don't know. Again, I'm going to start looking at the draft in a little bit as far as, we just had the combine. So we see all the talent that's out there and the abilities and everything. So we'll do a show on the draft in the near future as well, because it's coming up in about a month or so, right? But like I said, myself and my co-host Jordan Jackson, we'll probably end up doing another show a little bit more in depth than this. We'll put up some numbers and things of that nature across the board. After all of that, I was going to do this, and I never even started it. I'll do it for the next show. Since we have music now, I want to use some of the music. But anyway, hopefully everybody got to check this out. And if you didn't, I didn't post this. Again, this was very impromptu. I'll try to post it on some of the Falcons pages out there or whatnot. But if you see this, you enjoyed it, please share with some other Falcons fans. By the way, again, Atlanta Falcons is not the only thing that we talk about here on Around the ATL. We talk all Atlanta sports, both pro and college. We try to sneak in a little high school when we can. About a year and a half ago, we were doing all high school stuff in the state of Georgia. Okay. So definitely check that out. We do college, Georgia Tech sometimes, Georgia State, all the other, schools within the area, as well as historically Black colleges as well. We do that. Of course, on the pro side, we talk the Braves, we talk the Hawks, we talk Atlanta United. I watched their last match most recently. Looks like they're getting off to a better start than usual. Let's see if we can keep that up. I'm missing a team for some reason. I talk also like College Park Skyhawks. We talk some of the hockey team that's in Atlanta as well. Oh, Atlanta Vibe, the pro volleyball team. I actually have an interview with Leah Edmond, and you go check that out. That was a great interview. One of the best players in the pro volleyball league. Go check that out. Let's see what this says here. Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. This is not as prepared as I would have it, but I think, it went pretty good for this one. Again, we were only talking free agency in this show. The next episode, we'll start touching on the draft a little bit. But yeah, the next I got 2 episodes that are going to be Hawks related. One, just talking Hawks in general, but I do have my part 2 of my series in regards to the departure of Trae Young. Okay. Because you need to see it. Now, if you didn't see part 1, you need to go and watch it. It's a really good breakdown. A lot of things that a lot of people forget about. But I will say this as I kind of sign off for the day. It's really audacious for people to continue to try to put bad players on pedestals and believe those bad players were actually good players. And those players didn't have nothing to do with 2018 and 2019 seasons. They didn't have nothing to do, okay, listen to me here, with the 2023 season. They didn't have nothing to do with the 2022 season. Again, we literally had Bruno Fernando on this team twice. Where is Bruno? You know what? Let's do that. Let's see. I'm about to get my blood pressure up just thinking about it right now. All right. We had Frank the Tank on this team. Like, he was in uniform. He got minutes. But we were supposed to believe he was really good. Right? Like, Cameron Oliver is on our team. And again, if you haven't watched the episode of Around the ATL, I've done 2 episodes just on rosters in Atlanta Hawk history from the 80s, 90s, all the way up, offense and defense. Okay? And I'm just asking people, like, 3 points is good? 3 points? 4 points? If someone averaged 4 points on your team, okay, 4 points and 3 rebounds on your team, that's good. That's Bruno Fernando. But it's also John Concack, who also played 10 years here. Bruno played 4 years. So for 4 years, we got 4 points and 3 rebounds sometimes, because that's the average. That's good. Let me remind y'all of something here. Because, again, sometimes players are just bad, right? If I had time, I would repost a couple of these shows in the chat, but I'll do that next time. Y'all just be watching out, because I'm probably going to do this Monday morning. Here is the roster 2018 Hawks. I'm going to just call these names out. And then you could do your own homework. Go and see how many of these players are still playing in the NBA today. Okay. This is just 7 years ago. Okay. This is the roster. Jalen Adams, Justin Anderson, DeAndre Bembry, Devonta Davis, Dwayne Dedman, Tyler Dorsey, Daniel Hamilton, Isaac Humphries, B.J. Johnson, Alex Lynn, Lynn Sanity, because we did have Jeremy Lin, the only real point guard that we actually got on the bench for the Atlanta Hawks, Miles Plumlee, Alex Poitras. Taurean Prince is still playing somewhere. I think the Lakers, barely. Jordan Seibert, Omari Spellman, and Tyler Zeller. That was a 2018 squad, guys. How many of those players are in the NBA still doing anything? Anything at all? That's your homework. Year 2019, Charlie Brown Jr. Now, I'm only going to mention the players that weren't on the team in 2018, because some of those same players I mentioned were on this team too. Charlie Brown Jr., Alan Crabb, Bruno Fernando, Brandon Goodwin, Trevion Graham, DeAndre Hunter, who's on now what, I believe. How many teams has he been? Anyway, Damian Jones, Jabari Parker, Chandler Parsons, Cam Reddish. Of course, Jeff T has retired, but he was on the team too. Evan Doggone Turner. I'm getting my blood pressure up. Tyrone Wallace, Paul Watson. Now, believe it or not, I don't even want to go there. Now, remember, of course, the 2020 squad is the one that got to the Eastern Conference Finals. Want to know why? Because they replaced most of those bad players with better players. Bogey was on the team now. Clint's on the team now, right? Gallo's on the team now. Solo helped as a veteran, mostly, but played a little bit of defense as well. Okongwu, Rajon Rondo, Tony Snell, Lou Will, to go along with Hunter, Kevin. Basically, that was our core. And they got to within 2 wins of the finals. And be reminded, Hunter didn't play after the first round. After the Knicks series, he was gone. So basically with Bogey, Clint, John Collins, Gallo, Lou Will, and Cam, we went through the East with that roster. And then the very next season, I'm just giving y'all this as an example again. The very next season, what did we do? Did we say, man, we were within 2 wins and not messed up ankle of that former player that don't play here no more because of that stupid referee, right? Although I keep saying if we had Hunter and his 14 points, we'd probably still beat Milwaukee. And then we see what happens with the Suns. Give that former player a week to recover from that ankle, you never know. Because he was dominating. He was averaging 29 and 10. People forget about that. They just, bloop, it didn't happen. But anyway, here's what we did the very next season. The 2021 roster, we went and said, let's go get Cat Barber. He'll help us out. Let's go get Chauncey Brown Jr. Not Charlie Brown Jr., Chauncey Brown Jr. We went and got another junior. Thought it was going to be better. Let's go get Sharif Cooper. Let's go get Gorgie Jang. Let's go get Malcolm Hill. Let's go get Wesson Windu. Let's go get Kevin Knox. Let's go get TLC. Let's go get Cameron Oliver. Let's go get Lance Make It Dance Start Liquor Stevenson. Let's go get him. And we'll run through the East again. No, that's not what happened. Now, again, that particular playoff with the Miami Heat, you had a lot of injured players. John shouldn't even been on the court. Clint was hurt. He didn't play. I think he didn't play like 3 or 4 games. Bogey was hurt game 5, right? We had a lot of people hurt, right? So Coach Spo, as I've been saying this before, and I've done a whole episode on it before, he's a really good coach. He saw that former player, I ain't supposed to say his name no more, go 29-10 in the previous playoffs and out there dominate. Remember, the Hawks won game 1 of every series they played that year, right? Because of said player, right? That happened. We seen it. He said, with all these injuries, I'm going to dare somebody to have a good game. We'll triple team this player, not let him get the ball, make his life terrible, and dare somebody to have a good game. Hunter was the only one who was able to pull it off. He averaged 21 for that series. Now, all of his games weren't great, but he averaged 21 at least. Go look and see what Kevin Huerter did in those 5 games. Go look and see what Gallo did. Go look at what Gallo and Kevin Huerter shot from 3 in that series. Go, that's your homework. I've done a series about it. You can go back in past episodes. I've shown all this. Because the very next season against the Boston Celtics, the 2022 season, of course, we went and got DJ. And in that particular series, by the way, here's who we had on the squad. We had Sadiq Bey, right? Jarrett Culver, still don't know why we got him. Trent Forrest, AJ Griffin, Aaron Holiday, Justin Holiday. We drafted Jalen. No, we had Jalen, but he didn't play the previous year because we just couldn't not let TLC get his minutes, right? Jalen balling out of control in College Park. We needed his production one way or the other. He can't play though, right? But TLC could, and we just let him play 30 minutes and get no points. But anyway, so Jalen is his first full year. We got Frank the Tank. We got Vitt, Tyrese Martin, Garrison Matthews, DJ, Donovan Williams. In that Boston series, that former player did his job. DJ did his job. He averaged his points. Hunter even did his job to an extent, 17 a game. Unfortunately, though, there was 2 people responsible for stopping or slowing down Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum because those guys were averaging 29 points apiece in that series. That former player was averaging 29 and 10. All we needed was somebody to stop Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum, and we beat the Celtics. We beat them. We would have beat them straight up. But you couldn't stop those guys. There was somebody responsible on our roster, and it didn't happen. Then, of course, the next season, I'm doing this real quick, but I have it very much in detail on another episode. You need to go look because in one episode, I went through production. This is what everybody did for the season, production-wise, and this is what they did in the playoffs if we qualify for the playoffs. I did an episode about the Hawks roster in regards to that. And I also went defense. Y'all want to talk defense? Well, look and see who has the worst plus and minus. Let's see who has the worst defensive rating. Let's see who has this. Let's see who was the leader in defensive rebounds and who was last in defensive rebounds, steals, block shots, the whole 9 yards. And why aren't certain players way up here at the top? Because they're supposed to be, right? They're supposed to be. Why aren't they? We have 2 people in the last decade that have made an all defensive team. Paul Millsap and Dyson Daniels. That's it. Where is everybody else? No one has nothing to say about that. Meanwhile, people like the Joker has a triple-double average against the Hawks. Joel Embiid is discussing what he used to do to us. And that's just those 2 players. And then you got players like Spider Mitchell and Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum and all these other guys. Go watch the episode I did on the Luka 73-point game. That'll get you a kick in the pants real quick. But anyway, that 2023 season where we had all those injuries, because, we had a lot of injuries that year. Hunter was out. Conga was out. He missed games. Sadiq Bey missed games. A former player had missed games. We had a lot of people miss games that season. We still had a chance at the end, but again, Kobe Buffkin. Bruno's still here, doing whatever, I don't know, right? Mckay, his rookie season. Seth Lundy, Wesley Matthews, Patty Mills, Dylan Windler. Y'all want to know what they were doing? Yeah, one player who's 25-10, another player who's 22-6, another player who was 16-8, another player who was 13, another player that was 16, another player that's 15, and then it's just downhill from there. You had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 player on this roster who played that season who averaged 6 points or less. Most of that less, 4 points or less on the roster that had minutes. That was our team. That was our team. That was the team. I'm going to say it one more time. That was the team. You have players that wouldn't even be playing on other teams. Again. So, again, go look at some of the past episodes on the Hawks. I also have a Braves episode coming up as well. So be staying in line for that with spring training almost winding up. Again, we're down a lot of starting pitchers. Makes no sense how this keeps happening year after year after year. But the rest of the positions, the infield looks like it's pretty much set at this point. Everybody, looks like they might have a good start of the season, which is usually what our downfall has been. Players can't hit a $180 out the gate. It looks like that might change this year, hopefully. Because if we could get off to a decent start, we'll not only be back in the playoffs, but we could probably be a contender again. Of course, Ronnie is back. He looks good. But it's going to have to be, again, a team effort all the way through. But people have to – I'm not going to say that certain people have to have career years this year, but they kind of have to have career years this year. I'll just say that. And the pitching, I think, will take care of itself. We'll see. So, yeah, we talk all Atlanta sports, like I said. I will probably be doing some college stuff probably in another month or two. I'm going to wait a little bit before we start talking college football, just because I just want to see how things, go with other stuff. But be looking out for it. I got some stuff coming. I also have some game reviews coming. It's hard for me to do game reviews right now, but my schedule is going to change where it'll give me a little bit more time. But if you've never watched a game review, I do shot for shot, possession for possession on everything that happens in a game to let you see what actually happened rather than what you thought happened. What had happened was stuff. I eliminate all that because you can't change the game film. You might want to, but you can't. Okay. So I'm going to show you, here's what actually happened in this particular game, in that particular possession. Here's who actually gave up the bucket. Here's who actually didn't get back on defense. Here's the person who didn't grab that rebound. Here's the person who didn't block out. Here's the person who didn't switch. This is it. And at the end of the game, I calculate, here's all the points that this particular person gave up. Let's see who gave up the most points. Here it is. Here it is. You see what I'm saying? It's much better than just saying stuff out loud and hoping people believe it. That's just me. I like facts. All right. So look out for some game reviews. But if you're interested, go back on right here, the IMTN Worldwide Radio YouTube page, and you will see the game reviews over the years. I've done about 3 years of game reviews. Not all the games, of course, but a lot of games. Okay. But definitely look at that Lucas 73-point game because, again, with Bam getting his 83, a lot of people wanted to talk about Lucas 73 against us. And a lot of people say certain things that are just not true. Again, I can prove stuff otherwise. So let me get out of here. I've gone off a little bit longer, and I'm supposed to go try to play some basketball now. I'm going to get out of here. But hopefully y'all enjoyed this particular episode. Again, wasn't as in-depth as I usually would have it, but it was an impromptu show. I said I'm going to do a show because I said I was going to do it. Let me get it done. Again, I hate that Jordan Jackson wasn't able to stay with us, but we'll do another show soon. We'll probably redo what we did this afternoon, but with his takes in regards to some of the players. And again, we'll start touching on the draft in a little bit as well. So that being said, y'all take care. Make sure you subscribe to the IMTN Worldwide Radio YouTube page. Let other people know about it. If you enjoyed it, we appreciate the support. Until next time, y'all take care. Peace.
Dribble, pass, throw, catch, hit, slide, grab, respect, around the ATL.